Hello, all. Welcome to another episode of AWS Show Tell Generative AI. I am Anil Nadiminti. I'm your host for today's episode. And joining along with me is Mark Roy and Ishan Kaushik. We're going to introduce ourselves in a little bit, but today's episode, we're going to focus on Bedrock AgentCore. We've been chatting about 2025 being the year of agents, and everyone is looking to build agents and deploy them. But as we get into the deployment phase of the agents, there is a lot that needs to be considered: security. How do you deploy? How do you maintain the agents? How do you get some observability into those? So Mark, Roy, and Ishan are here to break this down for us. So just an introduction, I'm a senior solutions architect from AWS supporting enterprise customers, and I'll let Mark introduce himself.
Hi, Mark Roy here, Agentic AI tech lead at AWS. Been with AWS a little over 7 years. Had some exciting times with Amazon SageMaker. I was happy to be part of the Amazon Bedrock launch a couple of years ago. In the last couple of years, focused on agents, which has been the most exciting. Worked with hundreds of customers across the world and a lot of different industries and segments. Cool challenges, exciting times there as well. Prior to AWS, I was a builder for a few decades, and through the power of agents, I'm only 29 years old, so I don't know. There's some magic there, but super excited to dive deep on AgentCore. We think it's pretty game-changing, this launch that we had a few weeks back.
Thanks, Mark. Ishan?
Yep. Hi, everyone. Ishan Kaushik. You'll see everyone referring to me as EK. I'm a solutions architect here at AWS. I'm in the same team as Mark. Uh, I support customers who are trying to build agents and try to productionize it in their enterprise. And quite recently, I have been working with Strands and Agent Core. And let me tell you, we have really exciting stuff for you today. And I'm really excited to show you how you can develop AI agents into production.
Excellent, right? So we also have Maida joining us from the chat along with Prakash Srinivasan. And Maida and Prakash are going to answer your questions that you may have. So please pop all your questions in the chat there. And now, with that said, let's talk about Agent Core, right? So Mark, why Agent Core?
Yeah, it's like I said, we've got phenomenal interest in agents. I'm personally believe that agents will be everywhere. We're going to be seeing some massive business value produced by agents in the years to come. Everyone's predicting it, but sadly, if you can share my screen here, um, it's pretty easy to build your prototypes and your POCs using any agent framework, download it to your laptop, and quickly get something together, no problem. But getting that into production has been extremely difficult. So we've been helping lots of customers struggle through that for the last couple of years to do it well. Security, scalability, interoperability across agents, large payloads, long-running agents, lots of big challenges. And if you don't get your agents into production, you've pretty much produced no business value other than exciting the C-suite with some amazing demos. But customers want more, and that's why we've introduced Amazon Bedrock Agent Core 3 weeks ago from tomorrow, I guess. We're in public preview for this, and its focus is deploying and operating agents at scale securely. And a couple of big other points here is any framework, any model. You'll hear both EK and I refer to that a few times throughout the show today. And that's super important. Our customers have said it's nice that Bedrock offers a lot of different variety there, but we want even more than Bedrock. We want to bring our own open source models. We might even want to use OpenAI or Gemini as well. And frameworks, we've got a lot of customers that love LangGraph, that love Crew AI. We love them too. We love Strands as well. You might have seen our Strands episode a week or so ago. We'll show you mostly Strands today, but Agent Core works with any model and any framework. The benefits that we bring to the table: time to value, So it's not just time to prototype, it's time to actual production business value. Uh, the flexibility, and we'll talk about protocol flexibility as well, MCP, A2A, and then uh, actual trusted agents. It's great to show a quick demo, but businesses are betting big on agents. So they're going to be mission critical workloads that you and I are going to depend on in our day-to-day lives. They're going to make our lives better, but you can't do that unless you trust your agents. So you got to know what those agents are doing. They've got to be secure and more. So let me spend 2 minutes here showing you what AgentCore is. And then I'll tee up EK to drive most of the rest of the show here with real code, live demos, and all of the cool stuff that you're wanting to get into. But let me set the stage. Here's, typical agent. You've got instructions. You've got maybe some local tools, some context using some sort of a model. But you need somewhere to host that at scale. Laptop isn't going to cut it. Most customers out there want to use cloud for deployment. Runtime gives you a secure, scalable, and flexible way to host those agents. We'll talk a little bit more in detail about that in a minute. Going beyond that, in order to make agents do anything interesting, you need tools, right? So AgentCore Gateway, and you see the little MCP logo to the right of it, it basically takes your existing APIs and exposes them as MCP. That way they plug right into any of your agent frameworks or into your coding assistants, anywhere you want. MCP is showing up everywhere. So that's the role of Gateway. And then we've got some off-the-shelf tools for you that are secure and scalable as well. One called Browser to automate browser interactions. This is great for legacy systems or manual business processes that you're trying to automate. And then Code Interpreter for data analysis and a lot of other different workloads. So we've got those. And then these depend on, again, to be trusted, you need security. Identity brings in authentication and authorization. You've got users talking to agents, agents talking to other agents, agents talking to tools that might be first party or third party. All of that needs end-to-end security, and that's where AgentCore Identity comes in. Memory, giving you ongoing conversation memory for your agent interactions, but also long-term memory, fully automated, fully managed to get things like user preferences, session summaries, and more. We'll get into that. And then lastly, would you really trust your agent if you don't know what it's doing? I'm all for autonomous agents, but only when they're secure, they're under control, you can audit them. Observability is there for that end-to-end picture. So we'll cover all of this in the next 45 minutes or so here. And we're going to do that by taking on a real challenge here. Let's build a customer support assistant. We've got a user interacting with an agent. That agent's hosted on Runtime. It's using a number of tools, some local tools, and then it's also using a gateway to get at some other tools. So let's pretend we've got some existing APIs out there in the enterprise, and we're using Gateway to expose them to our agent. We've also got memory. So we've got ongoing session management and conversations, but we're going to actually show how long-term memory with just a couple of APIs can be integrated into your app as well to make hyper-personalized agent experiences. We'll also, if time permits here, show how we can use AgentCore Identity to securely access things like Google Drives or Google Email or calendars or Salesforce or Jira, any third-party type services with their own credentials. And then lastly, observability, showing how you can see what your agent's been up to. So a lot
So
of cool stuff.
yeah, we have some questions coming in the chat where people are asking about agents and they're asking about the guardrails, right? So, are there guardrails for agents, that are deployed here? We'll probably get into that as we go further along. But yeah, this is good introduction right here. And exciting, nothing could be more exciting than seeing this via a live demo. So
Exactly.
we want to get to that in a second here. Ishan, if you're ready, we could do that as well.
Yeah, sounds good. So let me start showing my screen here. Awesome. So we talked about Agent Core, but how do you get started as customers? So first, just wanted to give you some resources. Whatever code that you will be seeing here is part of this repository. So in this repository, we have tutorials, we have use cases, and so much more. So in tutorials, you can actually go and one by one see all the features that we have for you for all these building blocks, such as runtime, gateway, observability, and so on and so forth. In use cases, you can actually go and see a lot of developers are contributing to this. So we are developing real world use cases, and one of them is the customer support assistant that we would be going through. Now, apart from that, you will also see me use the Amazon Bedrock AgentCore SDK. And yes, it is open source. So you can actually go to this if you want to contribute, you can do that. But this SDK actually lets you deploy local agents to production to Amazon Bedrock AgentCore in just a few lines of code. Finally, supplementing that, we have a starter kit which exposes CLI commands, and you will be seeing me use that too to configure launch agents into runtime and also invoke agents. So this is great for debugging. A very neat feature that we have here is you can actually first deploy agents locally, not to AWS Cloud, locally, test it out, which is great for debugging purposes. Now, I'm going to be saying that again, as Mark said, it's you can deploy any framework, any models out there. But for this demo, we'll be focusing on my favorite, Strands Agent. And Strands Agents, they help you build production-ready multi AI systems in just a few lines of code, as I will be showing you here. So yeah, let's actually dive into the code. And don't worry, I'm not going to run a bunch of scripts and just deploy everything to the cloud. We will be going here step by step, taking a local Strands agent and deploying it to AgentCore. So first, we have, as I mentioned, a local Strands agent right here. We have the import statements. We have a function which creates an agent. We have a model ID. In this case, we will be using Anthropic Claude for Sonnet. We have a few tools, and these tools are actually being developed by the Strands team themselves. So current time to get the current time, and retrieve actually lets you get relevant information out of Amazon Bedrock knowledge base. And the way you configure that is provide an environment variable, as you can see here. So I have a knowledge base ID variable that I'm defining right here. And then finally, this returns the agent. So I have an agent here now. And what are I'm going to be asking questions. What are the warranty support guidelines? So here, what I want the agent to do is retrieve information from the knowledge base, which consists of a few policies that I've defined, which are the warranty support guidelines, and also it consists manuals for various devices. We'll be seeing that in the demo. So let's run this particular code right here. And yeah.
So this is life before Agent Core with your fancy demo on your laptop, right?
That's
Yep.
correct. You're still at
Nice.
POC stage, right? You have officially impressed the C-suite. How do you get to production is what we are going to be seeing now. So we see that the agent decided to use the retrieve tool and then stream the response back to us from the knowledge base. And we have the response here. Well, that's great. As I mentioned, just a few lines of code. Strands help you deploy, create agents for POCs. Now let's supplement that with the agent core. So first, I'm going to be importing using the Bedrock Agent Core SDK. I'm going to be importing Bedrock Agent Core app. I will define the app right here, as you can see, and I'm also going to define entry point. So I have the app, I define the entry point. This entry point is an invoke function which takes the payload, and this payload is coming from the user. So it can be prompts or images or files. In our case, it's going to be the user question. So we get the payload, and the context gives us access to the session ID. We are also when we see later on, we will also pass the actor ID. Actor ID gives us information who is the user, maybe its name or email, and we'll go into depth about that too. Great. So one thing that we have missing here is we have created a global agent. So let me define here a agent variable. And yeah, so we are ready. So here we are using a global variable, but for your use cases, you might want to use context variables. We're just using global variables because it'll be easier for our users to understand what's happening in the code here. Awesome. So if the agent does not exist, we create the agent, and then we stream the response back from the agent to our user. Great. All right. So that's it. That's the addition that we need to do to actually uh, launch this strands agent to AgentCore runtime. All right.
So, yeah, pretty cool so far, EK. I'm impressed always at how simple the strands code is, and it looks like just a few lines of code now. It's ready for AgentCore.
And if you want to dive deep into the Strands agent, we'll put a link in the chat for another previous episode we've aired that goes deeper into how you can create and what are all the features that are available in Strands agent.
Yeah, I think it's worth adding the same point again, any framework, so you can use LangGraph, Clio AI here instead of strands. All right, so first here, what we're going to do is, so we have made the changes to the code, but now we're going to configure our agent. So you see, I run a AgentCore configure command. I define the entry point, which is the main.py file, and the name of the agent, I'm just going to name it customer support demo. The first thing it asks me is, what is the execution role of the agent? So I provide that information right here. Then it asks me if you want to create an ECR repository. Yes, I want to do that because we will be building an image and deploying that, pushing that into an ECR repository. Then we want the requirements.txt file, which it auto-detected in my current directory. So we're just going to use that. And for authorization, you can use IAM, but I choose here to use Cognito as my identity provider. So let me do yes. Here I can go to my Cognito and get this information. So we need to get the discovery URL. So this is the discovery URL for my Cognito instance. And also, I need to get my client ID. Again, if you want to understand how to set all this up, you can refer back to the code of the customer support assistant, and you'll be able to configure a Cognito, AWS Cognito. Great. And finally, the audience. And now we have officially configured our agent.
So now that we've configured the agent, right, I see that the code is here. We're not, where is the Bedrock, the model ID that you would share, and how do you configure that?
Right. So here, as you can see, model ID that we have provided. So what I've done is I want to use Anthropic Claude Sonnet 4, and that's where I have hard coded the model ID here. If you want to pass this dynamically at sort of launch time, you can also define environment variables and pass it there as well.
Excellent.
Awesome. So one of the neat features of AgentCore SDK, you can launch locally. I'm going to switch my tabs here and launch locally here. And let's see if we get a running local host. Awesome. So our local host is running right here. So all of this is local right now. I'm just doing it for debugging purposes, as any developer would do. And let's ask our agent the first question. What are the warranty support guidelines? The same question we have been asking so that it retrieves it from the knowledge base. Let's enter and let's wait for the response back. I'll search information about warranty support guidelines. It decided to use the retrieve tool and responded back to us. And as you can see, it's streaming the response back, which is great. So awesome. I'm going to be closing my local deployment and let's go ahead and launch. So all I have to do is AgentCore launch. What is happening in the backend is my project directory it's being zipped and sent into an S3 bucket, which is used by code build as an artifact repository, and it gets pulled in. The code build is going to build the image and push into ECR. Mark, do you want to talk more about runtime here
Yeah.
while we are launching? It's going to take about 1 minute.
Yeah, if you could switch screens to the slides again, I'll just give you a quick idea of what's going on here. So we talked at the beginning, there's 6 or 7 main components of AgentCore. One of them is runtime. So that's what we're showing off first. Took a strands agent, added a few lines of code, and now it's being able to be deployed. The runtime is really handles a wide variety of use cases. We're doing a customer support assistant, but you can imagine something much more sophisticated, maybe a deep research assistant, something, providing a very complicated automation that might take hours or days. Runtime is able to support up to 100 megabytes payload. It can run agents for up to 8 hours, and there's ways to go even longer. It initializes really quickly. You've got fast cold starts. You can even host tools or MCP servers, not just agents. And a big one for the security conscious out there, full session isolation. So there's no risk that any session will leak any information to another session, maybe with a different customer, perhaps. So a quick visual of what's going on. You take your agent, you do configure like EK showed you. It produces a Docker file. When you launch, it creates a Docker image, pushes that to a repository, launches a process in the cloud here. Runtime agent establishes an endpoint, and now it's up and running in a scalable fashion for all kinds of application usage. And what you're about to see now is EK using invoke on that agent. And I think we can switch back.
Yeah. So, Mark, you mentioned here that again it's full isolation. Can you talk about that? Can you zoom in a little bit more on that?
Yeah, so basically, when we're talking about agents and they're doing a lot of autonomous capabilities, we're giving more and more uh, agency to those agents to make decisions. You really need to keep security in the highest regard, right? So uh, with session isolation, we're guaranteeing that there can be no leakage, no leftover information in memory or in the file system. Sessions operating completely independently is what we're offering here with AgentCore Runtime, and that's a pretty unique capability. And we can get into some other uh, advantages like cost optimization that's built in as well. But yeah, I think we should see it actually work live. EK, are you ready?
Yeah. So the launch was successful. And as you can see, I get the code build deployment complete response back. Quick tip here, we also get the CloudWatch logs associated with my runtime environment. So what I like to do is I like to tail these logs. Essentially, I can see the logs while they're coming in. It's great while I'm debugging them. But just for this demo, I won't be showing you that, but you can tail those logs as well. Definitely do that if you want to quickly debug what's going wrong with the agent. All right. So here, what I have done till now, I use the AgentCore invoke CLI command to invoke the agent locally. But now I'm going to be using a script, which is what you will be doing from your front end. And let me show you what that script looks like. Right. So we have the invoke agent function. We have the URL, which essentially is the ARN of the agent, and there's a format that it needs to be in. We have the headers, the bearer token. Remember, we configured our agent with the Cognito IDP. That's the bearer token that we are passing here. How do we get that bearer token? I will show you that in just a second. Then we pass the session ID, and now we make a post request to our agent endpoint with the headers with streaming as true and stream the response back to my console. If you want to do that to your UI, you can do that too. Towards the end of this demo, we will be seeing that too. Great. So how do we get this beta token that I've been talking about? Awesome. So I ran the script, and what it is doing in the backend is, let me show you. It opened another window for me, this one right here. Now I can log in to my Cognito IDP. So I have a throwaway user, a throwaway email right here. Let me log in into that. So it says authentication successful. And once the authentication was successful, I actually got the access token back. So all of this I'm handling through code. So once I get the access token back, I'm going to cache it locally right now in my environment. So you won't be seeing me do this again. Once I use the script, it's already going to be cached. So you see right now, no cache was found. Next time it would be in my cache. So I'll be using the same access token. Great. So now I have an interactive session, as you can see here with my agent. Let's run some user queries here. So let's just do hi, and let's see what response we get. And we got our phone's response back. It's providing, hello, how can I help you? That's great. But now I want information like, what are the warranty support guidelines? I wanted to use the knowledge base here, and we get this response back. Again, this is being deployed into AWS Cloud right now, and we're getting the response from the AgentCore runtime environment. All right.
So now
Yeah.
you've moved well beyond the laptop here. We've got this deployed in the cloud. You can have multiple users hitting this agent concurrently. It's secure, it's scalable, all the joys and wonders of AgentCore.
Now we didn't. I know we shared that we deployed the agent, but do we have to know a lot about everything that's going on within AWS in the background? Like you spoke about code build, all the deployment that's happening, ECR. Is that a one-time setup? Do we have to be monitoring those at all?
Right. So the SDK actually makes it quite easy to maintain those. So from the SDK's perspective, there are only two commands that you have to do: configure and launch. All the resources, the backend resources that are required to do that, are handled by the SDK itself. So you do not have to manage that. You can take that heavy lifting away, that under differentiated heavy lifting, and you do not have to worry about that.
Excellent.
Awesome. So let me just quit this interactive session.
So we also have a question in the chat. This is coming from Monk Warrior. So Strands Agents provides S3 Session Manager and Conversation Manager. With AgentCore, do I need to use these, or will these capabilities be automatically managed?
Yeah. So the session manager, the conversation session manager, definitely supplements to what do we have here. And I will be talking more about that during the memory. So let me come back to that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. So now we have this agent being deployed, which is great. Now let's actually start connecting this to the tools that I already have. So right here, if you can see, I have already deployed two Lambda functions which are doing read operations on my DynamoDB tables. So there's a warranty table, there's a customer profile table. The two tools that I'm going to expose through Gateway are get warranty status and get customer profile. Also, we saw the Amazon Bedrock knowledge base that was already created. Great. So now let's expose both of these tools through Gateway. Let's see how that happens. All right. So we are going to be importing a few statements. So we have, again, just from Bedrock AgentCore SDK, require access. We have the MCP client and then streamable HTTP client from the MCP library. And we'll see the usage of all of these. Great. Now, since I'm adding more tools to my agent, it's actually a good practice here to have a more descriptive system prompt, giving more information to my agent. Hey, you can retrieve the knowledge base. You have access to other tools as well. So let me do that here. So now my agent has a system prompt as well. Awesome. So now we want the gateway URL. So what I have done, I went ahead and created a gateway. So I have a gateway URL, which we are getting from the SSM parameter. Let me take a step back and actually talk about how do you create this gateway. Right. So to create a gateway, first I have a target config. This target config consists of my Lambda ARN and also the tool schema. The tool schema gives more information about what this parameter is, what this function is supposed to do. For my auth config, which handles essentially the inbound authentication, and this is managed by identity primitive, the identity building block. So the auth config, we provide the allowed clients and discovery URL of my Cognito IDP. So using that, I'm first going to create the agent. I have an execution role that I associate with the agent. I also associate my auth config that I defined above. Once I have that gateway created, I'm going to associate a target with it. And in this case, it's going to be a Lambda target. Mark is going to talk more about targets, so just bear with us. So we create a gateway target. We provide the Lambda target configurations. And yeah, so that's all I did to create a gateway. So this gave me access to the gateway URL, as you can see here. Now,
and by the way, the starter toolkit that EK mentioned earlier, you can do most of that with like a single line of code or maybe a couple of lines of code. But EK, because this is a developer show here, we wanted to show all the gory detail that you've got all the options at your disposal through the SDK. The starter toolkit is, if you want to get there even faster, simplifies that as well.
And we're linking the starter toolkit as well in the chat, so you can take a direct look at that.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. So now you can use this gateway URL and you can use any MCP client out there, to connect to this URL. So we provide the gateway URL and also the bearer token. I'll talk you through how to get this bearer token. So this bearer token, let's assume this is going to be passed to the agent, to the create agent function right here. Great. So we have the client. Here we are using the strands MCP client. And what we are going to do is we're going to initiate the connection first, and then extend my existing tool list with the tools exposed by the gateway. And this tool actually goes into the agent, and now my agent has all the tools that the gateway exposes. Awesome. One thing that we did not do yet is getting the access token. So let's do that. So here, again, using the SDK, we have a require access decorator, which will help you have an auth flow, the machine-to-machine auth flow with the provider, which is the Cognito provider. And this decorator actually injects the access token that you require to connect to the gateway into this function, and we get access to it right here. The way I like to use this is, again, I'm going to be using global variables. So we have access token right here. And here I am going to do if. So first it's a global variable. If not access token, then we get the access token here with something like this. So I use the get access token to get the access tokens. Once it is set, I'm going to pass to my agent. All right, so this essentially sets up my gateway. And now my strands agent is able to talk to my gateway.
Excellent. And if you can take a step back and again, zoom out for a little bit and then zoom back in again. So what are we doing here, Ishan, so that anyone new who's joining the chat can also catch up?
Right. You want to switch, EK? Do you want to switch to have me cover what Gateway's doing here?
Sure. Yeah. Sounds good.
Yeah. Sure. So now that we've got an agent deployed, we're showing how to get access to tools. And these days, everybody wants to use MCP because agent frameworks and coding assistants all natively support MCP. You've seen it on the Strands episode before. You just have an MCP client, plug in a URL, and all of a sudden you've got access to all of those tools in a standard way. So it's a USB plugin type approach. With AgentCore Gateway, you can use existing APIs, existing REST services, or existing Lambda functions and expose them as MCP. So what EK has just done is shown you the Lambda approach. You write a Lambda function, and you can easily just add those functions as a target to a gateway. And then you've got instant access to those tools in any agent framework. So that's what the gateway does. It simplifies that access and does it securely. He spent the extra time to show you the OAuth authentication and authorization capabilities and the tokens and so forth. That's because with MCP, although it's easy to use, you want to do so securely. And that's what we're demonstrating here.
And
yeah.
and Mark, we have another question in the chat coming in. This question is about again from Monk Warrior asking he has multiple microservices deployed in production using API gateway and Lambda. Am I correct saying that the gateway URL can be used to connect AgentCore to these existing APIs?
Yes, Monk Warrior, you are spot on. So go home and try Gateway right now. You can point to those REST services and expose them as MCP, just like we're doing right here. So on the right, your REST services now become tools that are part of your gateway, exposed as MCP, and then any agent, any client can now use list tools and invoke tool. And we have a freebie plugged in there as well, which is search. So we automatically give you semantic search. So if you've got a gateway that has hundreds of tools, let's say, instead of returning all 300 tools or 1,000 tools into your agent, which will be expensive and slow and kill your accuracy, now you've got a search tool built in out of the box, and then you can just get relevant tools and pass those to your agent.
I love how we had that search configured, so we don't.
Do you want to jump back and show how that works, or should I cover memory for a minute as well?
Yeah, let's cover memory, and then I can show the entire code changes together. That sounds good.
Awesome. Yeah, 1 minute on memory here. Agents are pretty useful just by using tools and a nice runtime, but they're not very powerful without memory as well. So memory has two big flavors. One is short-term to handle conversations easily. The other is long-term, and that's much more compelling and interesting, where it's actually remembering your old sessions, your old conversations. It's actually extracting facts from all of that. It can actually identify user preferences from your past conversations, and you can do it securely. You can do it at scale. And just like with Gateway, we've got built-in semantic search. So you've got full flexibility in your agent design to take advantage of that. So just as an example, here we've got an agent. It's handling a set of ongoing messages. It's got some agent state that you can define. AgentCore memory automatically gives you short-term memory. You just post the events into AgentCore memory. It keeps track of that securely and with high performance. And then if you set it up and turn on long-term memory, will automatically in the background do the memory extraction and support a scalable and secure long-term memory where we get facts, we get preferences, we get conversation summaries, and your agent can easily retrieve those memories either by keyword or namespace or by semantic search, or can even list the raw events. And EK will show you how that fits into a more powerful agent.
Yeah, just a bit ago, even before this memory was launched, right? So we'd had to do a lot of coding to keep a track of all of these various moving parts. Memory, keep a track of that, and now AgentCore memory is making it much simpler.
Yeah, this is going to be a huge win. Out of all these components, I don't know. It's tough to say my favorite. It's like saying who's your favorite child, right?
That was my last question. I was going to make that as the last question, but yeah,
yeah.
got that.
I don't know. I'm sort of partial to Gateway, but memory in the end, I think memory could end up being the big winner. We'll see.
Yeah, awesome. So what I did while you folks were talking, I went ahead and launched another version of my agent with Gateway, right? So Let's use my client. And now you can see I'm using the cached access token to invoke my agent. And again, in the interactive session here, we have been asking about warranty support guidelines, but now I actually want to get my warranty status. And this tool is exposed by Gateway. So let's send that user query and let's see what my agent responds. Awesome. So the system responded by help you check the warranty status, and it actually invoked the Lambda function, read from the DynamoDB table, and it's been expired for 254 days ago. Oh, well, that's not good.
Good news, bad news. The bad news about your warranty, the good news that Gateway worked well.
Absolutely. So let's actually try to get information about the customer profile. Remember, there was a tool that we also introduced to get customer profile. In the current state, I don't have this tool with the gateway. So as you can see, it responded by saying, hey, I do not have access to that tool. So the main advantage of gateway here is what I can do is, and I have a script to automate that, but essentially what I'm doing is I am updating my existing target with a new tool, which gives me access to get customer profile. So let's go ahead and test the agent again. And I've not launched the agent. I'm just using the same agent version. So let's see. Let's hope this works out. And can you give me the customer profile for customer ID? And now, without actually updating any of my agent code, it got that information from the gateway, which is,
this is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just to break it down, EK, so what did we do there when you ran the update command?
Right. So essentially, gateway is a building block that we are using with runtime, correct? And gateway exposes a few tools. If before AgentCore gateway, all those tools were part of the agent code itself, right? So if you want to update any of the agent tools, add new tools, you have to update the agent code, which is cumbersome. It's not really a good practice right there. So what I did was instead I updated the gateway separately without updating the agent code, and now my agent had access to new tools or a new version of my gateway, which is awesome.
Let me add to that. Monk Warrior might like this one as well. Imagine you're in an enterprise setting, you've got multiple business units, dozens of teams, all building services and tools and agents. That's a recipe for disaster if you don't have some sort of enterprise architecture in mind. And what we've offered here is a set of building blocks that give you that capability. So now you can establish these gateways and maintain them in a reusable way and then expose them to different teams. So now all of your order services can be exposed securely to agents. So multiple different teams can reuse the same tools, and it's all done via runtime and gateway in this case.
And since these are loosely coupled, it gives us an opportunity to deploy them separately, and we can always maintain them individually.
Absolutely, yeah. So what about memory, EK?
Let's do that.
Yeah,
let's do that. All right. So before this demo, I went ahead and created AgentCore memory. So I already have a memory created. So I'm going to be using the same memory ID, and let me talk about that in just a second. So first, I'm going to be importing from our favorite Bedrock AgentCore SDK. And we are also going to be using a hook. What are hooks, you ask? So let's just quickly see that. So hooks is a strands. Hooks comes with strands. So you have a lot of these events that you have with a strands agent. And what hooks let you do is they let you add functionality to your agent. And this is what we are doing for memory. So these are the different hooks hook events that you can add to. So two of these events that I've used are on agent initiate and on message add, basically. So whenever the agent is initiated, what I want to do is I want to give the context to my agent about customer preferences, customer facts, maybe past customer conversations, so that the agent is not starting from scratch. And that's just bad user experience when I have to go to a chatbot and explain my problem all over again. For on message add, what we are doing here is whenever a message is added, either by the agent or by the user, we add it to the short-term memory of our AgentCore memory, and asynchronously, it gets added to the long-term memory. So this is a hook provider that we have created for strands, and you can actually incorporate memory with LangGraph, with CrewAI, and you can use different mechanisms that they expose to do that. All right, so we have this hook exported right here. What I'm going to do is have a memory client. Now this memory client is part of the SDK, and right here, I am going to do something like this. So I'm going to have the memory hook. Remember the actor ID that we were talking about? Now the actor ID comes into play because the long-term memory is associated with an actor. One user would have its own preferences, other users will have their own preferences, and that's how agent core memory would work. So we have this hook defined, and now we want to give this hook to my agent. So we're going to expose it by the create agent function. So let's go there. And here I'm going to have create agent. This is going to be of type memory hook. And all I have to do is provide hooks right here. And now my agent has long-term, short-term memory associated with it. Right. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to do the launch step. And while it's launching, let me also talk about the Google tools that we were talking about. All right. So because we are almost on time, we won't be able to show all that integration, but I'll definitely want to talk about the code and how to do that integration. So the first step that you have to do here is create a credentials provider. And that's a API call that's exposed by the identity building block. So what you do is you create an OAuth 2 credentials provider. You provide Google OAuth 2, your client ID and client secret. So this client ID and client secret is associated with your Google account. If you go and if you want to configure that, I have detailed explanations on how to do that in the README of the customer support assistant on GitHub. So you will have access to that client ID, client secret. Once we create that credentials provider, we are going to be using that inside my tool, and let me show you how. So again, we have the required access token that we use for gateway. So here as well, we're going to use the required access token, which is a decorator exposed by the SDK. And we're going to use the user federation OAuth flow. What this is doing basically is getting the credentials from the user and giving it to the agent. So basically, if I run the agent, it will have access to my calendar. If you run the agent, it will have access to your calendar. And this is the type of functionality we want to expose to our end users. Similar to how we configured the gateway access token, we also use the Google access token. And once the Google access token, once we have access to that Google access token, we can give it to the API, and now you can create calendar events, read calendar, and so yeah, all those functionalities are exposed as well. All right, so it looks like we can actually come back to the code. Now let's actually see memory in action. And
Love it.
Yeah, then if we have some time, we'll see the tool, the Google tool in action too. All right, so let's use the same script, and now it's going to use my cached access token, and let's ask it a question. What is my favorite device?
So while we're waiting for it to come in chat, okay, looks like we have the response already.
Yes. So what I went ahead and before the demo, I started the same interactive session and I populated with some of my user preferences, suppose my favorite device, my name, and so on and so forth. So when I came back, and this is a new session, there's a new session ID, and I asked, what is my favorite device? It actually used a long-term memory to get that my favorite device is the gaming console Pro. So that's how you incorporate long-term memory, which is awesome. Like with just a few lines of change to your codes, you're actually able to use long-term memory with your agents.
Yeah, and I think we're underselling it even here. This is really game changing. Everything that we've showed in the first 40 minutes or so here, 50 minutes. If you try to do this on your own, don't do this at home. Do what we showed you. If you try to do it on your own, there is literally a ton of heavy lifting to kind of make this be enterprise ready,
I agree.
secure, scalable. It's amazing what you've just shown already here,
We
EK.
haven't even seen the observability part of it, right? So I mean,
That's
good.
correct.
We have a couple of questions in the chat, though. I'll be very quick to pivot them, place them here. So Jay says on runtime, when using A2A instead, will the decorator work the same way for exposing all endpoints? When the app is exposed through A2A to fast API, should runtime be superclass of the object?
Right. Mark, do you want to take that?
Yeah, we've got some A2A examples coming out shortly here, and I think in the first round it won't be actual additional AgentCore decorators to do it. I'm not positive on that yet. So I would check back in the repo in the next week or two on that. In the fullness of time, we'll have more built-in support to the starter toolkit as well as the SDK to make it as convenient as possible. But it will be pretty straightforward even out of the box.
And we're also having a bunch of deep dives into each of these services that we're presenting here. So we'll definitely zoom in on that. So, yeah.
I want to hit one of the questions that I saw scroll by as well, and that was about vibe coding. Everybody wants to do it even with less lines of code, EK, than you showed here. And yes, you can absolutely use your favorite Claude Code or QCLI or even Kiro. Works very well with not just strands, which you probably already saw, but strands plus AgentCore. And just today, if you're somebody that's already using Bedrock agents, we've got a new import agent capability as well that will take an existing agent and just automatically generate strands and AgentCore code for you. So lots of opportunities to make it even easier. But we know you'd love seeing all the code, so that's been our focus here. I think we've only got like 7 minutes, EK. So how do we want to invest here?
Right. What I was thinking was maybe we can show the tool, the Google tool. It's already launched. I can show the Streamlit application that I have running, and then the last 2 minutes we can talk about observability.
Let's do it. While you're doing
Exactly.
that, the important thing to know here is not just that it's cool to access your Google Drive or calendar here, but think of the bigger picture here. Agents, to be super powerful, they need not just your internal APIs and data sources, but they need third party as well. And it's got to be entirely secure, either for your internal employees or for your actual customers. And so what we're showing here is pretty powerful with just a few lines of code. We hooked in with the Google credentials, and then the user gets to provide their consent, and the agent automatically securely accesses these other resources. Pretty powerful.
Right. So let's log in into using the Cognito UI, and this is a Streamlit app that I have running on my local host. So the first question that I give the agent is, hi, my email is, and this is a throwaway email. And you see we get a response back in 4.82 seconds, which is awesome.
Not
But
too bad.
let's talk about what is my agenda for today. All right, so now it has access to the calendar tool that we have been talking about. We get access to this authorization URL. In a real world setting, you'll just directly redirect the user to this URL. But for this demo, I just wanted to show you, you get that URL. Now I'm going to use my email I'm going to continue right here. And here you can see you can give access to your calendar. So the end user can clearly see what you are giving, what they are giving access to. So I'm just going to do continue, and you can see authorization successful, and it got my agenda from my calendar. And I'm not cheating here. I can actually show up my calendar, and you see I have a client call, running, gym, and you can see exactly the same thing right here, which is awesome. So now you can get the credentials on behalf of the user and associate it with your agent, which is amazing. That's the main power add of identity here.
Nice. Now 1 minute to show a dashboard, and we'll end on a high note here.
All right. So yeah, one of the major challenges that my customers used to face before AgentCore observability was, hey, what is my agent actually doing in the backend? So what we have for you here is GenAI observability dashboard. And yes, it is live today on CloudWatch. So you can go here under Bedrock AgentCore. You can actually see all the agents. So how many sessions do they have, traces, and so on and so forth. Right, so let's actually go ahead and see for my customer support demo. That's the one that I was using. And you can see total sessions. So there were 5 sessions. Like we saw through the demo, like how many sessions we created. There were 19 traces. You can see token usage, errors. We did not get any errors, so that's great. We can also see the latency, any throttling exceptions. But my favorite right here is actually you can go into any of these sessions that was started. And let's actually see another one, which is populated. Let's go this one. All right. So here you can actually see the traces coming. So you can see the invoke agent. So there was execute loop that the strands agent started, and then the anthropic model was used. So you can use all of these traces to see which trajectory the agent took, right? Which is great for observability purposes. Is there anything else we want to show here, Mark?
No, I think that's great. I mean, we should use a minute here to just kind of summarize what we went through here.
And we have a question, Mark. Just we'll do this quickly. Like, can you show the memory on the AgentCore console? Right? Is this something that's available?
EK, you got that?
I don't believe so, but our UI team is working really hard, and I'm not sure myself. I've not seen the console, but why don't you tell us if it is not? But yeah, from what I saw last, it is not. No.
Yeah, I think it's in work in progress, but it's very easy to build a UI memory viewer given the APIs. But so that's coming.
Yeah.
But so what have we seen here? We saw the customer support assistant from start to finish using runtime, gateway, identity, memory, observability. We didn't get to show off code interpreter and browser, but we'll come back for that, I'm sure. But all of the heavy lifting that's associated with moving from prototypes to production, all firsthand here in the last hour.
Yeah, and you saw this live in action, right? EK was definitely doing live coding here, not live coding for now.
Live coding,
but,
yeah,
it's all going to change pretty soon. But yeah, this is pretty exciting stuff that we were able to demo how to take a POC and literally have visibility, to deploy an agent securely in production, right? So this has been, great session today. Any closing thoughts, Mark?
I would just love everyone to go to the repo. If you like what you see, put a star on it as well. Try out the samples, try out AgentCore, give us your feedback. We're working hard here to make it even better as we go forward here. But a lot of customers super excited about what we're offering so far.
Yeah, and contribute to the repository as well. Maybe you can wipe code your agent and just open a PR. We'll be happy to review that too.
Love it.
Love it. Yeah, great show today. Thank you for thank you for joining, and we'll dive deep into each of these areas in the upcoming episodes. But for now, that's it from all of us.
Awesome. Thank you so much for hosting, and EK, amazing job. Love the demos.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone.
And Myra, thank you for all the question answering there.
Yeah.
Love it. Okay. Have a good night.